Immersion mods are probably the most abundant in my 1000 mod long load order, and in this video we're going over some small immersion mods that I use. Starting with the first mod on our list, Afterlife. It introduces a game mechanic that adds a little lore continuity to Skyrim. The mod adds a whole new dimension to the way NPCs' deaths are handled in the game. With Afterlife installed, when an NPC dies, they won't be gone forever. Instead they'll be sent to their rightful afterlife, depending on their race and how they died. Nords who have died bravely in battle will be sent to Sovngarde, the Nordic heaven, where they can feast and fight for all eternity. This is consistent with the lore of Skyrim, where Sovngarde is the ultimate goal for any true Nord warrior. But before defeating Alduin, Sovngarde is not a peaceful place. The deceased Nords will cower in the mist to try and avoid the World Eater's grasp. After Alduin's defeat, the Nords will roam happily around Sovngarde, with some even trying to enter the Hall of Valor. However, not every Nord will have the honour of being sent to Sovngarde. NPCs who are soul trapped will be sent to the Soul Cairn for all eternity. NPCs who have succumbed to this grim fate can be seen wandering aimlessly around the desolate Soul Cairn. By default, the mod allows up to 128 NPCs to be sent to either realm, but it can be adjusted all the way up to 256. Next up, we have Rain Extinguishes fires. With a simple and performance-friendly implementation, this mod makes it so open fires get extinguished in rainy weather. This mod doesn't just affect campfires, but it also affects city fires, which means that when the rain starts to pour, fires in cities will also go out. And after a while, the fires will relight themselves automatically after a certain amount of time. Though, if you want to relight the fires yourself, you can do so by activating them, which comes with a special animation, or alternatively, you can use a fire spell on them. But what I like even more is that you can now put out fires at will by hitting them with a frost spell. This mod just gives you a little more control of the environment around you. It's definitely going to stay in my load order for a long time. Now to improve upon a vanilla mechanic, we have NPCs wear Amulets of Mara Plus. It's a mod that will change the way you approach marriage in Skyrim. The mod's main feature is that NPCs might now be wearing an Amulet of Mara, the symbol of love and marriage in Skyrim. This means that you can ask them out following the Nordic tradition, without having to buy an amulet yourself or talk to Marimal in Riften. This mod makes sense lore-wise, as it's likely that some NPCs would be looking for a partner and would wear the amulet to show their availability. In-game, the mod works like this. NPCs in the marriage faction, meaning those that you can propose to, have a 25% chance to be equipped with an Amulet of Mara themselves. If the NPC in question is wearing an amulet and they're friendly towards you, you can propose to them, without the need to buy an amulet yourself. Beyond the new marriage system, the mod also makes it so Nords will already know Skyrim's marriage traditions from the start, so there's no need to speak to Marimal to learn it. Other races can get a pamphlet from the courier to get the information they need without having to travel to Riften. The mod also includes a new feature that allows you to cancel your engagement with NPCs. If you've changed your mind or found someone else, simply let them know and you can move on to a different partner. And if your better half dies before the wedding, the marriage system will no longer lock you out of a wedding, unlike in vanilla Skyrim. You can now tell Marimal the bad news and find yourself another spouse. All in all, this is another great mod by J Serpa that makes the marriage system less restrictive and more immersive. This next mod, Honed Metal, is a game changer for those of us who don't want to spend hours grinding crafting skills, or who just want to have more options and variety in their equipment, because it lets you hire blacksmiths and mages all across Skyrim to craft, temper and enchant your gear, including modded items. The mod is very simple to use. Just talk to a blacksmith or mage and ask them to work on something for you. You can choose from a list of items that they can handle, depending on both their skill and the mods you have installed. The quality and price of their work will depend on their skill as a craftsman, as well as your bartering abilities. All crafting, tempering and enchanting takes time by default. You can choose how long it takes in the MCM menu, from instantaneous to a few days. Once craftsman has completed your order, you'll be notified via the courier. Additionally, the mod comes with some cool features to make the new crafting system more realistic. For example, the level of a blacksmith or enchanter determines what perks they get, the type of equipment they can work with, and the cost of their work. A level 100 blacksmith like Eorland can craft even Daedric items, whereas a level 50 smith like Adrian can only craft up to silver items. However, to craft items that require rare materials like Dragonbone, you will need to provide them yourself. enchanters follow the same general principles, being that the higher skill the enchanter, the more powerful the enchantments will be, but also the costlier. By default, enchanters will only know common enchantments. If you want a modded or rare enchantment, you'll need to bring an item that they can source it from. Ultimately, home metal provides an immersive way to access powerful gear without the monotony of grinding those crafting skills. For something completely different, we have the newly released Ghost Flicker. This mod adds a new feature to ghosts in Skyrim. They become invulnerable for 2 seconds when you hit them with an unsuitable spell or weapon. This means that you have to use specific types of magic or weapons to damage them effectively, just like in the previous Elder Scrolls titles. By default, any silver weapon, Daedric artifact, or any weapon with the Turn Undead enchantment are effective against ghosts and will prevent them from becoming invulnerable on hit. For magic, any concentration spell or Turn Undead effect are effective against the ghost's new ability. This makes fighting ghosts infinitely more interesting and challenging, as you have to choose your weapons and spells more carefully. You can also configure this mod using console commands. You can set the duration of the invulnerability or disable it completely. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and don't forget to endorse any mods you enjoy using.